Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday morning, guys. Let's talk earnings and get ready for today's session. So, a couple of earnings taking place here last night, guys. Start off with Tesla. Market makers are pricing in about $180 move up or down, meaning, guys, with a close at about 1600, in order for this week's calls or puts to hold any of this crazy value, to hold any of the crazy premium that's getting pumped in, we needed a move this morning, guys, at least above 1800 or below 1400. Take a look here at Tesla. You can see, guys, we are only up about 30 bucks. So what's going to happen here this morning is anybody who held calls and anybody who held puts is going to get crushed here, guys, from the implied volatility crush. Market makers are pumping up these calls and pumping up these puts here really over the last week, pricing them based upon their expected move, meaning these calls and these puts, guys, they're worth what they should be under the assumption we're going to move about $180+ after the earnings announcement. When you get anything less than the expected move, meaning regardless of which direction we go, if we ain't breaking above 1800, below 1400, those options, guys, are going to get popped like balloons. All that value is getting pumped into them based upon an expected move, and if we get anything but the expected move, those options are going to get smacked. So a good example this morning, guys, of why if you're going to hold through earnings, be an option seller. Do a call credit spread, a put credit spread in Iron Condor, but to hold options naked through earnings, so many things have to work in your favor. We take a look here at Chipotle, a good $70 move. And here's another one, guys. We needed to open at least below 1,115 or an open above. Right, or an open above, guys, just about 1250. So you get another one here this morning. Less than the expected move. And then we have Microsoft kind of kicking off earnings last night for our big tech names. $8 expected move. That means Microsoft, guys, this morning needs at least 220 by the open or 204 to the downside. We are really nowhere near either. So there's another example. Less than expected move. If you hold calls or puts into Microsoft's earnings announcement, they're going to take a hit this morning once the implied volatility comes back down to earth. So that's why, guys, if I'm going to play earnings, I prefer to be an option seller versus an option buyer and structure a trade, like an Iron Condor, where we're going to profit as long as we don't make a bigger than expected move. You're kind of putting probabilities on your side, playing on the same side of the game as the market makers. So earnings starting off there last night, guys, none of them making the expected move. So there's going to be some serious premium crush here this morning, and all that money's going to go into the pockets of the dudes who are selling those options, not the buyers. Right, so with earnings in mind here, guys, I'm under the thought process right now that potentially, big money could be kind of sidelining a little bit while we wait for the next few weeks to go by. Next week, we got Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Google. You got Nvidia coming up in a few weeks. All these market-leading names, guys, set to announce their earnings. And here's my thought process right now. Right, and here's why I think if the big money does kind of sideline on tech and semis for a few weeks here, we could see some, lame price action in the market. If you look at the bounce here, right, coronavirus comes out, we make this epic bounce here off the bottom in March. What's more important, guys, is what was leading that bounce. It wasn't the financial stocks. It wasn't the energy stocks. It wasn't the industrials. It wasn't transportation. Clear as day, fam. It was technology. It was bounced off the bottom, broken through the corona level, and makes an all-time high. And it's also been the semiconductor sector over here, SMH. Now, you compare those two sectors, tech and semis, to every other sector, and it's glaringly obvious, guys, that the market has been rallying on the backs of those two groups. The big tech stocks and then the big semiconductor stocks like the Nvidias, LRCX, AMD, etc. But nonetheless, guys, those are the two sectors that have really carried the market all the way to this really significant pre-corona level. It's my mindset and my thought process that if the market is going to continue to rally, right, if we're going to all-time highs, if we're going to a new all-time high, my mindset, guys, is that we're going to need tech and the semis to participate and carry us towards the finish line. In the group yesterday, we had the same discussion, and we used, the analogy, guys, of a basketball team. If two players on the entire team, tech and semis, have pulled, the team, so to say, through the entire tournament here, right into what could be the final round, the odds are, guys, that if we're going to continue to move forward, we're going to need performance out of those two sectors. They got us all the way here. I don't see the market rallying and breaking to new all-time highs on the backs of energy stocks or transportation stocks or financials. I think it's going to be the same groups, guys, that have led the party all year here: technology and semiconductors. That's relevant, and that's an important context to have, because in the event, the big money is stepping aside right now, and they're going to let the next couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks go by until Apple, Amazon, Google, Facebook, etc. have announced their earnings. Well, then that could impact the overall market, guys. Not in the sense of we're going to begin to roll over, but we could see a little bit of chop, and we could see a whole bunch of nothing. So I think as a trader right now, you got to have that big picture context. What has led the market on this entire rally off the bottom, and what groups, guys, are likely to continue pushing the market even further? I think it'll be tech and semis. So I'm being patient here this week, guys. Only one trade so far. Put credit spread on NVIDIA, shorting the 380 puts, collecting some nice premium. I'm more than content with taking nothing but that one trade this week, getting my couple $1,000, and then we see how next week goes. But there you have it, guys. Earnings bust for Tesla. So, if you didn't see that coming, and you don't understand options all too well, you got Microsoft, CMG, all different companies, all different stocks announcing earnings, but none of them, guys, making a bigger than expected move. So, as always, or as usual, the market makers and the option sellers are going to take the W here this morning. I appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't already subscribed, check us out at focustrades.com. You can check me out on Instagram at focustrades. Love you all. Hope you have a good rest of the week, and we'll talk tonight.